Pro Football player Travis Kelce is pressed for time during the football season. So he does two things at once. Whether it's grilling while mowing.
Two things at once!
Or getting this season's updated COVID-19 shot at the same visit as his flu shot.
Two things at once.
You can be like Travis and ask your pharmacist about getting this season's COVID-19 shot at the same visit as your flu shot, if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote.com. That's SelectQuote.com.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
We love having you here, and it's our mission to bring you all the latest and greatest tips, skills, and know-how to make you the best that you can be. We know that you have it in you, and we're going to show you how. Now, let's get started.
This episode is powered by Poddex.
Thank you for tuning in today. You are now listening to That Will Never Work podcast with your host, Maurice Chisholm. Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in today. This is Maurice. Hey, I have a great show for you today. I have this gentleman right here. He is the international best-selling author of Success, Left a Clue. He's an app designer, entrepreneur, a trainer. He was able to overcome over $100,000 in debt and become financially free by the age of 32. I really am energized by this individual. He has a lot of great information. I was listening to a former interview of his, and they talk about how there is no failure but just feedback. And I really was energized by that, and we're going to talk about a little bit about that today, maybe. But there was another part that really encouraged me, which is the importance of being present. Sometimes just being in the presence of an individual will help you get over the hump. But you know what? We're going to get into this show. I'll present to you none other than Mr. Raymond Riopel. Thank you very much, Robert. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Maurice. I am so jazzed to be here as well, and just ready to have some fun with you.
All right, cool. Like I said, I've been, and I said to you off the show, how I really was energized by some of your interviews and just some of your points or whatever. And one of the things that I believe was interesting to me, because sometimes we're not always ready when we're put in a certain position, right? And one of your mentors had asked you to do a class and to teach and all that type of stuff, and just being present in that situation. How did that feel to have to overcome some of that stress and even just the excitement of him even asking you to do something like that? What was that feeling like?
Well, what I think you're referring to is, the reason I have one of my quotes is this, Maurice, is it's amazing how 5 minutes can change your life. Because here I was, I knew I wanted to be a trainer. I knew this is the passion I had, because I felt if I could help even one person do what my wife and I had been able to do, go from being over $150,000 in personal debt to financial freedom, it makes it all worthwhile. And we're full on volunteering. We're now financially free. We're volunteering to give back. We're doing a lot of the trainings as volunteers that had changed our lives. And my mentor, all of a sudden, he says, "Robert, get in the car." I'm like, okay. And we're in a camp situation. And so, we get in the car, and I'm his assistant for this camp. So I've got always ready to take notes. If he needs me, he just has to call me. I'm there. I'm delivering meals to him. I'm actually getting whatever he needs ready to be present on the stage, because that, I know the more he can focus on that, the better he can deliver to the students if he doesn't have to worry about the things off the stage. So I hop in the book. I said, yeah, what's going on? He looks at me, he goes, are you ready? And am I ready for what?
Right.
He says, I'm designing a new course and I need time to do it. We have a guest on tonight. I just need you to take 5 minutes. Hence, 5 minutes can change your life. 5 minutes. And I need you to just go on stage, thank the guest, give some instructions, and send the students to bed so that I can stay focused on what I need to. Can you do that? And on the outside, calm and collected, I'm going, yeah, I can do that, absolutely. And on the inside, I'm like, what am I going to do? And I'm freaking out.
Right.
So, and I'm sitting there, and he goes, so I said, I'm like, what do I say? He says, well, do you have a pen and paper? Of course I have a pen and paper. As an assistant, I had sticky notes ready to write down anything all the time. So I pull out a piece of paper and a pen, and he's telling me what he wants me to say. And I feel like I'm a doctor, Maurice, because I can't read my chicken scratch.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, I can do that. You got it? Yeah, I got that. I get out of the vehicle. I am a basket case, and my wife's looking at me. She goes, "What did you want? What did you want?" And I'm like, I'm safe. If someone, you think of TikTok today, 20 years ago, if someone been recording this, I think I would have gone viral.
I bet.
So I'm like, he wants me to take over tonight and finish the night up. And she looks at what I written down, and she goes, what the hell does that say? And I'm looking at it, and this is when I realized my chicken scratches weren't the best. So I'm explaining it to her, and I'll tell you, Maurice, it was amazing that we had just come to that camp from an actual 4-day Zen retreat with my mentor, Zen master. And so my wife looked at me, and she said, here, give me that darn paper. You go send for yourself, because you're a mess.
Right.
I'll rewrite this so you can actually read it, and just you handle what you need to handle to be ready. And so I did. I went and sent it myself. My wife rewrote it so you could actually read it. I came back and I did the 5 minutes on the stage, and it blew me away, and it changed my life in that moment.
Wow.
But of course, then I crashed, which is a whole nother story.
So let me ask you this, though. How much did you think at that moment you were ready, or did you rely on any past experiences, or did you just feel like, hey, this is just off the cuff and I just got to wing it? Like, how did you adapt to that?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, hindsight being 20/20, looking back, it really brings in that saying that says opportunity favors the prepared. So for me, because I had done the classes and the courses on how to train, how to deliver the system, because it was all about the system.
Right.
Looking back, I was absolutely ready because I had put in the work. And I found out years later, that's what my mentor saw in me of why he chose me. So absolutely, I was ready in that sense. But in the belief side, did I think I was ready? No, absolutely not. Because my mind went into all those questions. Why me? Why did he choose me? What if I mess up?
Right.
What if I do it wrong? And so this is where having amazing people around you is so important. Because my wife, who is my rock, she was there to support me, so I knew I was covered. But also the friends that we'd been volunteering at events with, for months, as soon as they found out what was about to happen, they just came together, surrounded me. It was all the other volunteers. And they became my greatest cheerleading squad. And I knew I was so taken care of that even if I fell flat on my face, they were going to be there to pick me up.
Wow. As I listen to some of your information, I just wonder how important it really is to, because like as we're talking about being ready, a lot of us feel like we're not ready. And I think what happened, and then you're not sure of who's really paying attention to you. So out of some of the information and interviews that you had, your mentor, or you mentioned in one of your interviews that your mentor was actually paying attention to you where you weren't even noticing it, right? So
that's right.
So I think some of us, we're doing our job. We're doing a great job at it, and we're not really paying attention to who's paying attention to us. So that's why I'm asking about being ready, because some of us are probably
well, and I'll
ready.
sum it up like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'll put it like this, is because people ask me all the time, now that I've trained over 500,000 people in live training,
right,
where I'm actually on stage 3 to 5 days at a time, up to 12 hours a day, one of the most common questions, people go, I want to do what you do. I love how you impact lives. How can I do what you do? And my answer is always the same to them, Maurice, is I say, if you want to do what I do, then you've got to be willing to do what I do behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. The boring, the unsexy, if you want to call it, monotonous work.
Right.
The preparation. You've got to be willing to do that when no one's watching you, or you think no one's watching you, because opportunities come into people all the time. Mm-hmm. It's just most people aren't ready to seize it and grasp it. But if you're doing the work, if you're doing the preparation, all of a sudden you're going to start noticing the opportunity. It'll actually blow you away with how much opportunity there really is out there. Always has been. It's just been waiting for you to be ready for it.
Wow. So we want to change it a little bit, because you keep mentioning opportunity, right? And so it seemed like you had a moment or an opportunity where you had a 3-day weekend that changed your financial freedom in 9 months. Can you explain that a little bit, or what you mean by that? I'm sorry.
Well, yeah. At 23, my wife and I became franchisees with Domino's Pizza.
Okay.
At the time, it was the average age of a franchisee. And the reason was you couldn't just buy a store. You actually had to qualify. You had to successfully manage a store for at least a year, meeting all these criteria to show you could do it. And if you did, they waived the upfront franchise fee. Now, you still needed to buy or build the store. We didn't have any money, but we were forced in a situation where we were about to be laid off because our franchisee was selling his 2 stores. And we ended, and my panic mode was, let's go out and talk to the other franchisees, find another job, because it was my wife and I, we were manager, assistant manager. So it meant we were both about to lose our jobs. And my wife is like, she lets me vent. Here I am, Maurice, I'm going off, and I'm like, what are we going to do? Because this had been my pattern. Okay. It seemed like as I got going into jobs that I thought I was going to be good at, all of a sudden they were shut down the factory, they downsized, I was laid off, and I'm like, here we go again. But this time it's both of us. And so I vented for a few minutes, and my wife's like, are you done? And I'm like, what do you mean I'm done? She goes, obviously you're not done, keep going. I vented some more. And then when I finished venting, she says, now, first of all, wrong answer. And I'm like, what do you mean wrong answer? She goes, we're not going to the other franchisees to look for another job. She said, we're qualified to be franchisees. We're just going to buy this location. And she goes, why don't we do that? And I looked at her, and I'm like, I'm stunned. And I looked at her, I'm like, because we don't have any money. That's why we're not going to buy this store. Like, shouldn't this be obvious to everyone? Hello?
Right.
And my wife, who was youngest of 5, raised by a single mother, she was taught you figure out a way. And this is where we made a lot of failures, as some people might call them. Okay. Where we started talking to people, and we would say the wrong things, we'd get turned down for loans. But then we'd learn something. What did we say wrong? And then it took us about 4 or 5 months of learning, what to say and what not to say. All of a sudden, we had the confidence to go to our own bank, and we sat down by introduction to the branch business manager. And next thing you know, they didn't fund our store. They actually gave us 100% financing for both the stores my franchisee had for sale.
Wow.
And we became franchisees, and we're like, oh, like the eyes opened up, the heavens are thinking, we're successful.
Right.
Now, here's the difference, though. We knew how to run a Domino's Pizza store. But at that time, we didn't know how to run a business. And there's a world of difference between the two of those.
Wow.
And so the first 2 years, we struggled. The only thing that kept us moving forward was sheer tenacity. We're not going to give up. Here was our running model. Hey, if there's money in the bank, we must be doing okay. Let's keep going. And so we started making some pretty good money, but then our spending habits, both come from poor families, we started spending more money than we were earning. And I know, Maurice, you've probably never met anybody who's ever done that before.
Nope, not at all.
More money than they're earning, right?
Not at all.
And that's how we ended up in our financial stress situation, where 8 years into being franchisees, we're over $150,000 in personal debt, stressed out beyond belief, going down quickly, and we were introduced to personal development. This 3-day weekend, what it did for us, first of all, it taught us why we were in debt. We got an understanding that we weren't managing the money, we didn't understand it. But the more important lesson that came was we learned to take that debt. You see, I was good at blaming others. They lost my investment. Because of them, I spent money here and it didn't work. And when we learned to take ownership of our decisions, our investments, that's when our life really changed. Because the third thing we then learned was, if we wanted to get out of debt, what did we need to do? And my wife and I left. And I'm not going to tell people that I'm special in any way. I think the only reason that we took action when we left is out of necessity. You know the saying, necessity is the mother of all creation. We had no choice but to change. And because we started taking the action, 9 months later, at the age of 32, we went from $150,000 in debt to being completely retired, financially free.
Wow. So in that space of necessity, if you will, because some people, when they feel that way, they feel stressed out or down or whatever. Why weren't you in that space? Why didn't you allow that to take over? Or how did you overcome it?
Well, it was something that we learned very early on, and this is what I now coach people on. A couple of reasons people get overwhelmed and fully stressed out is they know what they need to accomplish, and then their mind goes 1,000 feet ahead of themselves, 1,000 miles ahead of themselves, and they start trying to figure out all the what-if scenarios. What if this doesn't work? What if it takes longer than I thought? And no wonder they get overwhelmed. Or the other reason they get overwhelmed is they go into their past and they start playing the victim of, like, it didn't work before, so it's probably not going to work now. And if you're so far in the future, so far in the past, of course, that overwhelm is going to paralyze you, keep you in inaction, non-action. So the first thing I tell people, and this is what we did, and this is what we were coached to do, took a deep breath in, came back to the present moment, and asked yourself a very simple question. What is one step I could do right now, right here, to move in the direction I want to go in? And now here's a key to this as well, Maurice, is it wasn't like, oh, it's going to be a huge step or it's not worth it, because that's what your mind will tell you.
Right.
It was, in the beginning, so easy, so small, no matter what's going on in your life, you know you're going to accomplish that step, and then you celebrate the heck out of it. Because that now creates an anchor, and then it creates a habit for you to be willing to take another step and another step. And the next thing you know, you're taking large, giant leaps that you didn't even realize, because you actually created the habit of just one more step, one more step, one more step. Hence, why do you think they have the saying, success comes one step at a time? It's so true.
Wow. Well, I hope my listeners, I hope y'all out there listening to this, it's really inspiring, because it tells you to take one bite at a time. Like, you can't eat a whole elephant at once. Just take it one bite at a time. So I hope that, y'all are listening to this and feeling energized and encouraged that, hey, you know what? You don't have to do it all at once. You don't have to answer every last question in order to get ahead. It's nice to think about it, but you don't have to have the answers all at one time. And Robert, I really thank you for putting it out there like that.
Well, and think of it like this too. Think of a professional NFL football team. Do you think that they go on the field with every play, every down for the whole game pre-planned out and ready to go, and that they're going to follow that exact schedule?
Yeah,
no,
they can't do
the
that.
moment that ball snapped for the first, the moment the ball is kicked, the whole game plan changes. So they're prepared as much as they can, and based on where in the field they are, what down it is, what position, and how the other team's positioning themselves, they make a decision and take one more step. Some of them work, and they get a first down or a touchdown. Some of them don't. They maybe get a fumble or they lose yards. But then they don't sit there and go, oh, it didn't work. Oh, my goodness, we're going to lose.
Right.
They sit there and they go, okay, coach, what's next? And
right.
they take the next step.
Right. No, you're right. You're right, man. Listen, this is really a lot of good information, and it's very, like I said, it's very encouraging. It's inspiring, to be honest, because you don't find too many people right now that have the, as your term of high energy and being able to express these things in a way that the regular person can understand and they can feel it. It's genuine. Sometimes you get people that are coaches or whatever else. They're so busy coaching and not talking to people as a term is, that you're using in one of your other interviews, that you are a human being. You are a human.
Yeah. Well, and think about that. That's why, for me, as much as I coach and I train, I'm a student in as many trainings as I can be. And that's why I still have coaches myself that I go to. That's why I have mentors that I look up to. Mm-hmm. Because the moment I think I know everything, I'm done.
Right.
Right. And talk about the stress that would put on me. Oh, I know everything now. Look at me. Right. Woo, I'm all that.
Right.
And a bag of crackers.
Right. Robert, man, I really appreciate you coming on today, man. I really do. I thank you for everything that you've shared today.
Anytime. Look, Maurice, you ever want me back, you just say so. I'm here.
Oh, no. We will have you back. We will. We will. But, would you like to share your how people can get in contact with you?
Absolutely. One of the things that in my new book I'm writing right now called The Authority Key, I talk about 4 currencies, and one of the currencies is the currency of time. Our time is one of our most valuable currencies we have.
Yes.
And so the fact that you took your valuable time, Maurice, to interview me, and just as important, your listeners have taken their valuable time to listen to this. You can't see me, but this aerodynamic, short, 53-year-old, that means so much. That means the world to me. So as a gift from you and I to them, to stay in contact with me, if they just go to robertriopel.com, just my name, Robert, ROBERT, RIOPEL.com, robertriopel.com, they're actually going to be able to download the entire digital copy of my book, Success Left a Clue, as our gift to them just for listening to this show.
Good.
And
okay.
The entire book. But I will say, though, Maurice, it does come with a caveat.
Okay.
I did not write and take my valuable time writing the book for people to download it and then never read it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
See, that doesn't help anybody. So in the 6 steps I cover in the book, step number 3 is you have to take action. So I actually wrote the book as a workbook. There's action steps all the way through. And being the goofball I am, I even say sometimes things like, hey, did you do the last action? If not, stop reading right now, go back, do the action, then continue your reading. In all seriousness, the reason I do that is because I know people are creatures of habit.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so I know that's what they're doing. And if they do that and they download the book, because I'm in my give back phase as well, I know people get stuck on their roadmap of how do I get from point A to B of success. And so I'm actually, when they download the book, they're going to be able to book in a 20-minute one-on-one with me, no one else, with me, a personalized success roadmap call where I'm not going to sell them anything. They're going to have to fill out a questionnaire before a call, take an assessment, and in that 20 minutes, I am going to laser in and give them strategies and the destinations on their roadmap on how to achieve whatever the success, whether it's mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, or financial, whatever area they are struggling with. And I'm going to take that 20 minutes and just laser focus with them. But if it comes to our call, haven't answered the questionnaire, or they're just one-word answers, I will cancel the call.
Okay.
Because my time, like theirs, is very, very valuable.
Of course.
So they've got to put that work in.
Of course. Mm-hmm. And that's fine.
So that's what we'll do.
Okay, cool. So everyone, as you well know, I'm putting all the links and everything in the description below. So that way you'll have it right there. You can go right to it. You don't have to come out of the podcast. All that will be right there. But Robert, what I do with every guest, I ask them a would you rather question before they get off. And so my would you rather question, my would you rather question would you rather choose 3 doors or a fork in the road?
Dang. I would have to go with the fork in the road.
Really? Okay. So why would you choose the fork?
No idea. It just sounds cool. Because my initial response is, why do I have to choose either one? I would go for both, but
right.
The fork in the road is because I love to go hiking. I love to journey.
Okay.
So that one just feels right to me.
Oh, okay.
The whole reason behind it, there's no theology behind it or philosophy behind it.
No philosophy. No psychology. No
nothing. Give you my wise answer. That's right.
No, but that's cool. That's okay with me. That's okay. Well, Robert, man, thank you very much for joining us today, man.
You.
And everyone, be sure to check the links in the description, and I will talk to y'all later.
Loved what you've heard on this week's episode? Well, the answer is simple. It would mean the world to us if you could head over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review and feedback. Spreading the word really is the best way to grow our podcast and achieve even greater things. Thank you.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry. We were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right. ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.